Hi everyone. Today we are going to talk about the clinical research industry. Being a medical graduate or being a life sciences graduate, uh, you might have heard that yes, there are openings within clinical research industry. And if you're a life sciences graduate, postgraduate, there is a perspective that yes, you can get a good opportunity from what you're doing. Yes, definitely it is there. But the question arises for a medical graduate is then when you are going to join into the clinical research industry, what is there going to be for you? So you need to understand yes, this is a growing sector, and the main focus of this sector or the clinical research is basically towards studying the health and illness. So the main focus of the clinical research industry is studying the health and illness specifically in humans, right? Yes, we do talk about preclinical studies, but that is a different subject, that is a different aspect of clinical research industry. But for clinical research or clinical trials, it is mainly focused on the health and illness of humans. And what is the focus of this to bring out? First is advancement of medical knowledge. And the second, the most important aspect of this is to bring about or develop so as mentioned in the previous video, that conduction of clinical trials is basically about drug, device and interventions to check their effectiveness. In order to check the efficacy or effectiveness of any of these following, we need to conduct the clinical trials. There are phases within a clinical trial that are important, that are mandatory in order to gain regulatory approval. Now, what are these phases? First is the phase 1. The phase 1 is basically focused on the safety and the dosage of drug. You might have heard that it involves a very small number of patients, from 5 to 20 patients, and the main focus is to evaluate the best dose, yes, the side effects, as well as timing of the new treatment. When are we going to start the treatment? Within clinical research, there are trials that are conducted. So basically, there are clinical trials. Research and trial, they are different aspects. We are going to talk about clinical research and clinical trials separately in another lecture. But now the focus is okay, right? You are getting into research. You want to know more about health and health and illness that is related to humans in advance. And for that, what you do, you need to understand the medical knowledge, the aspect of a disease, how it is happening, why is it happening, what is the causative factor, how does it progresses, and then further developing new treatment for that, I would say, disease. Or you can say you need to bring an advancement within the already that are present treatments available for that disease itself. So this is how you look into clinical research, and how this, I would say, new treatment is developed. This new treatment is developed about by conduction of clinical trials. Effectiveness on drug, device, or various other interventions. Any of these possible, whether it is a drug, it is a device, or an intervention, whether these are really effective or not. So once the phase 1 is successful, we get the results from phase 1, we move on to the phase 2 of clinical trial. Similarly, within the phase 2 of clinical trial of a drug, device, or an intervention, it is important that they check the efficacy as well as the broader aspect, the side effects, the number of, or the patient population increases, the patient pool increases, it increases to about 50 to maximum of 200 subjects. It depends on the disease type and what is the result that the pharmaceutical company is expecting, how and what are the number of patients they want to evaluate. Then the most important thing evaluated within the phase 2 is the MTD, or the maximum tolerated dose. We'll talk about it later. The safe dose range, what is the safe dose range of the medication, what is the therapeutic regimen that we need to follow, do we see any drug interactions, as well as the comparison of placebo. This is within phase 2. Now, once phase 2 is successful, the results are positive, we move ahead to the next phase, that is the most important phase for any clinical trial or any given drug intervention or device, is the phase 3 clinical trial. It always involves a greater number of subjects, multi-center studies are conducted, even global studies are conducted. Greater than 300 patients are included in the study. The same focus, it is the efficacy and safety of a drug, device, or intervention. Within this phase 3, it is most important that they monitor the areas within the clinical trial, because the regulatory authorities, they are very stringent about what are the side effects, because you need to calculate the risk versus benefit balance within a clinical trial. It is important. Once phase 3 is completed, we attain the marketing approval. And yes, the marketing approval is always given for a time span. The drug has a lifespan also, that yes, they can market a drug for 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, 20 years, 25 years. It depends. And there is, in addition to this, once the drug gets approved, because now the broader aspect would be faced by the drug itself. A number of people might use it, a number of physicians might use it, there might be some positive effects, some negative effects. So once the drug is into the market, then we start off with PMC, or the post-marketing PMS, or post-marketing studies, that are very important aspect. And yes, we will talk about this, a very broad specific topic that we'll talk about separately.